Well, on the 5th of June, every year, the World Environmental Day is observed. This year, the theme is ecosystem restoration. Let's deepen the discussion now as the Director General of the Nigerian Conservation Foundation, Dr. Muhtari Aminu-Kano, joins us. Thank you very much for joining us, Doctor. I'd like to start by asking you, what's the largest challenge here in Nigeria to conservation? What's going on?
Yeah, thank you for having me. The largest challenge we have is the rate of deforestation in the country. We are one of the top 5 countries in the world where deforestation is happening at the fastest rate, about 3.5% a year. And that means we are losing between 350,000 to 400,000 hectares of forest every year. That's a major challenge. And the reasons are similar to reasons in other parts of the world, is really land use and how we are really cutting forests for agriculture as well as for firewood, and illegal logging for timber production.
Okay, well, happy World Environment Day to you. What is the thrust of this year's celebrations, and how is the Conservation Foundation going to play a part?
So this marks the beginning of what the UN, the United Nations that is, has identified as a decade of ecological restoration. So everybody is focused around promoting the need to restore our degraded environment. And that includes our forests, our lands, our wetlands, freshwater wetlands, and our marine areas which have been severely degraded, especially here in Nigeria. The Nigerian Conservation Foundation, the Nigerian government, and lots of other groups, especially civil society groups, are geared to send this message home to Nigerians that nature is the basis for our lives and the basis for our livelihoods. We derive our agriculture, our health, our food, our medicines, our timber, and many other things from forests and from nature. So nature sustains us, and we need to restore the over 94% of our land that has been degraded so far. Our foundation, we are playing our bit, not just in terms of spreading public awareness and getting people to get the message to drive it home. We are also putting our feet on the ground and working with communities to make sure that we do massive reforestation, tree planting in all parts of the country. We also advocate for conducive policies by governments that will ensure that, in the first place, our environment is not degraded, but then in the places that have already been degraded, to ensure that they have been restored, and that Nigerians use their God-given resources in a wise and sustainable manner.
Indeed. And the message from the United Nations Secretary General today, he said the world is facing triple environmental emergency. He said biodiversity loss, climate destruction, and escalating pollution. He also mentioned that the task to reverse all of this is monumental. And I want to ask, in a country like Nigeria, yes, planting of trees, but beyond planting of trees, with so many economies yet to be powered by clean energy, what more can we do to reverse these damages? And this 10 years, do you think is overambitious, or do you think we can surmount it?
I think, especially in Nigeria, we can surmount it. It is a huge challenge. We can't do so with business as usual. But you are right, it takes beyond planting trees, and definitely beyond the ceremonial way we have been taking tree planting in Nigeria by governments and others so far. It needs a much more systematic, a much more concerted, a much more energized effort from all of us. And you are right, it's not just the forests that are degraded, it's also the wetlands, it's also pollution in the air, and it's also the sea. So all our natural endowments are threatened and under pressure, and we need to work on all fronts, not just on one front.
So, Dr. Aminu-Kano, tell us, obviously there's a lot of discussions about what government can do and how government can advance the interests of the environment, particularly here in Nigeria. But what steps can our viewers at home take on the personal level to help protect the environment?
Exactly. So I think of course, government is not the one going around to cut the trees itself or to degrade wetlands, although they contribute to it and their policies sometimes do. And also, the onus is not just on government to act. We Nigerians should take the responsibility, the personal responsibility in our own hands and do our bit. We are the ones cutting the trees. We are the ones polluting the waters. We are the ones helping to pollute the air. So each of us in our own individual ways, big companies especially, have a special responsibility here because some of their activities are damaging to the environment, and some companies more than others. But even ordinary Nigerians, we are the ones going to overexploit natural resources through, for instance, eating bushmeat or cutting firewood or polluting waters or open defecation and some of these other things, or even harvesting things like vultures for traditional medicine. So we have to take it into our hands, one, to stop doing some of these damaging activities that we are doing, and then two, to actually start addressing the solutions, which is in order to do some reforestation ourselves and to stop this unsustainable practice.
Okay, very briefly, could you tell us how your enlightenment is going? Oh, it looks like we're out of time, but thank you. Wish you all the best in your endeavors.